Alright, let's talk a little bit about perspective and priorities. When I bought this house, well, I don't know, I had something weird on the front of the house when I bought it, but at one point all I had for front steps was a pile of rocks, some of which are still sitting here. My neighbor had this loaded in the back of his truck, and he was on the way to the dump with it. It looked a lot better then than it does now. And he says, "You want it?" And I said, "Yeah, I want it." So I brought it up here and set it here, and I've used it for 3 or 4 years. It's falling apart now. The rails are shot, and one of the steps is completely falling through. But you know what? Got me by. I didn't have to spend any money for it, and it worked out real good. And I'm about ready to lose this thing and get something else. But I wanted to show it because, you know, I think when you're doing a project like this old house, you know, people always say, "Well, why don't you do this, and why don't you do that, and why don't you do this other thing?" And you kind of have to pick, you know, what's most important to you and what needs to be done first. I decided not to paint the front of the house because I was building that garage, building that rat rod, things like that. That was a little bit more important to me than having the front of the house look all perfect. But now that I've sort of got that done, I can come back to this. And at this point, I've got the house painted all the way across the front except right up above the door and below the door. And I've got to scrape all these windows, and I'm going to prime them and then paint them. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is roll that old set of steps out of the way. And it may not come back. I may just build me something else there. I'm thinking about maybe putting some kind of porch on the front of this, but that's got to go. And then I'll get that part done, and then after I do that, scrape some windows, I might prime them, and then we'll start painting this whole thing white. That will be wicked cool.